Welcome back to another episode of Small Guys Podcast. Today on the episode here, we've got the regulars, Josh, Brian, Aiden, and Mike, and myself. Today we are doing our rewind review on the movie 42 with Chadwick Boseman. Pretty excited for this one. We're starting off with this mainly because we wanted to do a rewind, and also it has to be noted that the new Black Panther movie is coming out. Obviously Chadwick has passed. We thought, what's a movie that's one of his best? This is undoubtedly probably his best performance. One of them, arguably, I guess.
Honestly, I will put it over against anything Marvel based that he was in.
I think so too.
I forgot how fucking great he was in this.
So we should say
this is Bring to Fame too.
We should say too
right?
before we get into it. We are five white dumbass guys, so
Yep.
Clearly we can't put ourselves in the shoes of what he had to go through to even portray this part, or what Jackie Robinson really had to go through in real life, or anything like that. So that should be said too. We can't even really fathom what it'd be like to go through what they had to go through.
Not a chance. No, we can't even get close to that. But this movie has some feels that we'll kind of get into that no matter where you fall.
And that's why he's the GOAT.
Yes, sir.
So let's get into the synopsis for this movie. The movie 42. In 1946, Branch Rickey, who's the legendary manager for the Brooklyn Dodgers, defies Major League Baseball's notorious color barrier by signing Jackie Robinson. The heroic act puts both Rickey and Robinson in the firing lines of the public and the press and the other players. They're facing open racisms from all sides. Robinson demonstrates true courage and admirable restraint by not reacting in kind, and lets undeniable talent silence the critics for himself. This movie's rated PG-13. It came out in 2013. It's 2 hours and 8 minutes long. It's a Warner Brothers movie, and it's got an 81% critic score and an 85% audience score.
I'll start.
What do you guys think?
I watched this movie for the first time ever today. I had never seen this before.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like I think when we came out, a lot of schools had field trips for it.
Yeah.
That's when I saw it.
I don't recall.
Yeah, I saw it in a field trip.
Well, I don't remember that class taking me to do that.
Yeah, but so I watched this for the first time today. This is a hell of a movie. This is an awesome movie. Like I don't usually start off like that, but like no, I watched this. This is emotional, it's powerful. Honestly, an 81 seems kind of low. I don't know. This is some
racist ass critics.
I don't know if it was even more impactful. It's sad, but knowing that Chadwick is no longer with us, but like that, just like seeing his performance on this, and this is the first time I ever watched this, and thinking like, fuck this, I'm not gonna get to see this dude again. Like I feel like that hit home even more. So no, this is an awesome movie. Obviously it's tackling a huge issue that still goes on today. Thankfully not even close to as bad as it was back then, but I mean still there.
Yeah, to piggyback off that again, the last time I watched this movie was I don't think I ever saw it in theaters, but I do remember watching it that summer when it was finally on streaming. And that's like when we had to pay for premium channels for cable, whatever. Luckily my aunt was loaded, so that's how I watched it. But this time around, I even texted in chat, like I fucking forgot just how great of a movie it was. And I said it yesterday when we were talking about movie news, because Chadwick Boseman was brought up, and it literally killed me. Like within 20 minutes, it fucking killed me, because he was that guy. And it sucks that this was his breakout film. And don't get me wrong, Marvel didn't do him dirty, but that was like really the only things we got to see him in.
Yeah.
And it's just like Andrew said, it just hurts knowing that he's gone, and this was a fucking legend. Like when it comes to actors in the MCU, they've done a great fucking job, but I almost feel like Chadwick Boseman's like that, like S tier when it comes to all the actors that they brought on.
I think, I mean, I don't want to talk about Marvel for too long because that's not the movies we're talking about, but yeah, no, without a doubt. Like they're real good with who they select, but there's some that are like basically impossible. Yeah, impossible to replace. I guess we'll see in the new Black Panther movie what they do, but there's no replacing that, man.
Yeah, but that was
Yeah.
like my biggest takeaway once I finished it. It's just like, damn,
Oh
like
man, you got to think like he's an A-list actor, and from just the films that we got from him while he was, still alive, and then you realize you're looking at his like list of movies that he's ever been in, and it's so small, and every single role that he plays is so impactful. The fact that he portrayed Jackie Robinson, which is huge for his breakout role as well, and the fact that he was the first African American superhero in Marvel, like the MCU, which is insane. And then he played he's just got a bunch of different movies where he plays like, I don't know if they're considered biopics, but where he portrays someone in history who made such a huge impact, and him alone made such an impact in the cinematic history as well, playing all these characters and bringing them to life.
Yeah.
Showing people a portrayal of what these characters had to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
He was in a
that's what-
draft day too.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
year after this movie came out, he was in draft day, and I watched this movie. I mean, I've seen this movie a bunch of times, but I think I've watched it 3 times since he's passed. And I watched it I think a week or two after he passed, and like I think I was literally crying.
Mhm.
It's
I-
sad. I mean, it's a powerful
I
performance.
teared up watching this movie today.
I
It's,
think-
Oh yeah.
yeah,
So
there's
just
a
fuck-
couple great scenes where they like hit the nail on the fucking head, and you're just sitting there like, fuck.
the
man.
one when he I mean, we are talking about the movie when he goes in the fucking dugout.
and
and
he
he's
the bat.
fucking just breaks the
Yeah,
bat,
breaks the-
bro.
Oh my
and
god.
yeah, and again, it's because like he knows he can't do anything. And then what's the teammate that literally goes over and says that? And he's like, "You're only saying that to him because you know he can't
No, he
fucking
can't.
do anything. Pick on someone your own size."
Yeah.
And again, that's huge. And as a white man, to do that for the first ever African American to be in the MLB is crazy. And again, I don't know exactly how accurate this movie is. Maybe that's why they discredit it. But again, it's a movie. Like,
Yeah.
I
It
can
was-
almost guarantee that happened. Like, I know his teammates
It was
weren't.
probably exponentially worse. I can almost
100%,
I was-
dude.
Yeah.
So
I
I
can almost-
did read something about that scene in particular, how like I don't know if it was Chadwick Boseman's idea or like the director, but they said that, I mean, they don't know. I'm sure Jackie Robinson did that like
Mhm.
multiple times, let
Yeah,
alone not even
multiple,
once, just
dude.
multiple times. But they said that they just assumed that that is something that he would have done. So they just had it portrayed in that way because of all the anger that's just built up inside, and he can't do anything. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like the big thing too. Like saying what you said about like how it probably happened numerous times. How many games are in an MLB league like in the season?
I think it's 126.
126,
something.
and
Oh, yeah, they
we
brought it
saw altogether maybe 15 games. So
Yeah.
you got to imagine there's a lot of time jumping.
And that was
around
only his
here.
rookie season too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see anything. And like granted, like yeah, like more African Americans joined, but it's not like everything's clean slate. Like, oh, we weren't racist. No, you guarantee they're getting the same amount of smoke.
Yeah.
But like again, him being the first, like we're gonna jump ahead a little bit here with this one, my fault. But when Pee Wee gets the letter and he's just like, I don't know, I don't feel good about this. And Harrison Ford's character, what's his name again? I'm so sorry.
Ricky.
Ricky goes, you want to see something? And he pulls out the 3 stacks. And Pee Wee's like, what's that? And he goes, these are the letters that we've received since recruiting Jackie. And they just lay it out. And then he goes, well, does Jackie know about this? And he goes, yeah. And so does the FBI. And it's just like, holy shit, dude. And like,
Yeah,
you
and we don't really get to see the scenes where Jackie like gets those letters or like
Yeah.
his thoughts on it,
Mhm,
you know, which is really powerful too.
mhm.
That ties into one of the best scenes of that entire movie is when Leo DeRocher has the team like wake up in the middle of the night
Yeah.
and
throws the
he's like
fans everywhere.
he's going on a rant and just fucking lays into them, man.
Yeah.
It's such a good scene.
Mhm.
He's like,
He's
I don't
talking
care if he
about-
looks like a fucking zebra.
Yeah, but he's like, and he's only the first. He's only the first.
Yeah,
No,
you
because
can
it's
say
I mean it's real the people you're coming there to play baseball. You got to set that aside. And I
You're
think
there
that's
to
the
do a
message he was
job.
trying to deliver. He's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what
Yeah.
you fucking look like. You're gonna be out if you're not playing well.
And see, and
What
that's
do
the
you-
thing too that's crazy that this movie does a great job of portraying is the fact that at heart these fuckers are still racist. But
Yeah.
because Jackie Robinson is good at Robinson is good at fucking baseball, they'll set it aside. And you can see that throughout the movie. Like
I thought
again,
about that
scene,
actually
that
while
scene
watching
where
it.
he stood up for him finally,
Well,
and when Chadwick walks back, he's like, "Hey, thank you," and he's like, "For what? You're my teammate. Like someone would have done it," and like not even like, "Hey, no sweat," you know. Like you
Yeah.
could tell
Yeah.
even then he's like, "I only respect you because you're a ball player." Like fuck you.
Yeah.
I think one of the most disrupting scenes, like disturbing scenes, I guess I could say, is when they pan over to the kid in the crowd.
Oh my
And
god, I
it's just
forgot about
every single
that.
time you watch it, dude, it just it's just harder and harder.
But
Yeah.
And
then like
it just
too-
shows you how racism's taught. Like
Yeah.
it's 100% taught.
Yeah,
And
so for anyone that somehow hasn't seen this movie, the scene is basically this little boy is taken to a baseball game with his dad, and they're white.
his favorite
and-
player is Pee Wee, by the way.
Yeah, and so like he's hyped to see Pee Wee, and when Jackie Robinson comes out, they instantly just start throwing all types of slurs, and the dad's in on it, and the boy looks disrupted. And then out of nowhere, the little boy just starts throwing the slurs. But what's crazy too in that same ball game, isn't that when that's when the guy stood up for him, right? Like that was the Phillies game.
Yep,
And
he
that
put his
little
arm
No,
boy,
around
that's
him.
a no.
was that a different one?
That's when
Well,
Pee Wee would put his
Yeah,
Yeah,
he put his
and
arm around
that's
him.
when you could tell the little
Yeah.
boy though was literally questioning it, like, "Oh fuck, like
'Cause
that,
he doesn't
this
know
isn't
better.
right?"
He's
Yeah,
just going off of where he look at the time frame and look at where
yeah,
he's at.
exactly. And like, but in that moment, you could tell even the little boy was like puzzled at that point. He's like, "Well, my hero Pee Wee is now like friends with
Friends
him."
with him. Yeah.
And like, so what
It's
does that mean?
awful.
Is my dad an asshole?
Yeah.
Probably.
But that just
I
shows you
definitely
how
like Pee Wee more than
history-
my dad.
how it was generational. Like you couldn't like kids have no idea. They don't know better,
Mhm.
and they just
Well,
go off
I
of
like
what their
that
parents
scene-
teach them, which is awful.
Too with the manager right in the beginning.
Mhm.
When he I forget what he says, something racist, but he's
From
just like,
Montreal.
yeah. And he's just
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna let that go because you've been raised in this kind of family, this kind of
Yeah.
thing, da da da
Mhm.
da. But
Yeah,
let
there's
it
your one
happen again,
freebie.
and you're looking for a fucking job.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah. And that was the thing too. I forgot about the story that Ricky tells him after he gets cleated about why he actually brought Jackie Robinson on. I forgot that it was the fact that he had coached in college, or like a college team, and there was a black ball player, and he was just like, "Oh, like I told myself I did enough, but at heart I know that I didn't." And I had forgot about that because again, at the beginning, you almost don't know if Ricky's doing this for money, because like he's like it's bound to happen. I might as well be the first, type thing.
Yeah.
And but to hear that again, like that was another moment where there's like a little tear in my eyes, like, God damn it. Also, Harrison Ford in this movie, I forgot that was him. I forgot that he was even in this.
He did a great job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because again,
No.
this is only my second time seeing it, dude. And like I forgot, and I was like, hey, wait a second. Oh,
It doesn't
my-
even look like him.
Out of such a big established career that Harrison Ford has, this is his only movie out of every single one he's ever done where he portrays an actual person, a real life
Wow.
person. Every one
Wow.
of his
Really?
characters in any other movie
Fiction.
is a fictional character,
Fictional character.
which is
Yeah.
insane.
Indiana Jones and Han Solo, but yeah, I mean some
Um,
interpretations. I think they're real, but whatever. No, yeah,
They're real
his-
to me.
I
He's
mean, but
crazy.
him and Chadwick Boseman, dude, the chemistry is just perfect.
Insane.
I will say one thing I want to
Yeah.
say earlier that when you were talking at first, Andrew.
Mhm.
I think when we watched this over for our second, third time, fourth time, whatever time it was for us, the fact that we knew that Chadwick was gone and that like Aiden said, like
It's home, man.
you couldn't see him in another role like this. I think it made it
Yeah.
that much more emotional, honestly.
I think that's what really like made it even. I mean, this is like I said, the first time I've ever seen this movie. I've actually seen clips of it before, and I've
Okay.
watched some of it, but I think I fell asleep.
I'm sure you've seen that dugout scene where he hit the wall with the bat probably
Yeah.
a million times
Yep,
over.
I
Well,
have-
actually,
yeah.
MJR had that in their beginning intro for a while. I
They
remember
did.
that.
So I've
that
seen
following
clips-
year, you've seen him break the bat. And like,
Yes.
if you see the movie, like, oh, it's Chadwick Boseman.
Now, but also another scene I remember is him when they were arguing on the bus with the teammates when they wouldn't get into the
Yeah,
hotel.
yeah, I
I'm
remember
not going
that.
anywhere.
And
I
then
remember-
I remember when his wife using the bathroom. I remember watching that
Yeah.
as a kid, and he's like, "You got to get out of here!" And then the whole plane thing, and they sold his tickets, and that was just fucked from the start, dude.
That's
That
just the
pissed me
start
off.
of his
Yeah,
start of his career.
Well, no,
in
remember he couldn't even
movies.
use the bathroom when they were getting gas.
I
Yeah.
I like that Ricky he says when he's talking about he's gonna play and everything, and he's like, you need someone that doesn't have guts to stand up. And what is he says? No, I
You
need
need
someone
us to not fight
As-
back.
fight back. Yeah, and I was
Mhm.
like, that's super powerful. That's exactly what they needed, like in
Mhm.
someone to kind of be
Yeah.
a movement. And
Well, they
it's-
also
yeah.
were when they were going and picking like who they wanted to recruit. He was a four sport varsity athlete at UCLA. So they
Yeah.
used that like, well, he was already like playing sports with white people, and then like he had that background, and then he also fought in the war. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you'd think like a strong person is someone who stands up for themselves and someone who fights back and stuff like that. But how strong do you look if you're strong enough to hold yourself back from doing something like that, but not being a pushover?
but he
Right?
also
So there
had
is that
a
line.
he also had a record of like having a hot temper, and that's because
Yeah.
he doesn't put up with this shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So and
Yeah,
that's
so
where
you
they
walk
kinda,
like that
they
fine
kinda,
line.
yeah, they kind of, he's walking on.
Which again is good, like
ice.
when you see him getting fucking chirped on the side, because again, like yeah, we saw the dugout scene, which also we should circle back to that because Ricky coming in, that was like one of my
will.
favorite scenes. I had forgotten about
Yeah.
that. But again, you see him constantly getting chirped on the side, and like it wasn't even enough. Like, yeah, sure, like the one time it was portrayed, and again in real life, I'm sure it happened numerous times. Like that shit's gonna get to you, bro. Like you're in a stadium where literally half the people, not even like 2/3 of the people, fucking hate you, and you see that, and yeah, just for him to be able to like eat that and still go on to fucking hit a home run or get on base and then steal all the fucking bases away, like
yeah, that
yeah,
was pretty
dude,
sweet.
that takes a big fucking person to do that.
Yeah, I read.
Well,
I
I
read.
mean- Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say really quick. I read a thing where like Alan Tudyk, the guy who plays the Philly manager
Mhm.
coach, right? Him and Chadwick like agreed pretty early on to when they're filming that they'd kind of keep distance from each other, so
Nice.
then that hatred could feel more real and everything like that.
Mm,
So
that's cool.
And he's a really cool guy, so it must have been tough
Yeah.
to do
Is
that.
that the,
Yeah, to
is
play
that
that.
the is that the guy that says ARG in dodgeball? It looks just fucking like
I think
him.
so.
Yeah, it is.
It has,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
that's
that's
all I
is it
found.
Pirate
and then
Steve?
also it should
Yeah,
be noted
Pirates-
Pee-wee's actor is the motherfucker from Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw
dude,
him,
it's so
all
good.
I could think of was the beginning of Tokyo Drift where he drives to the house and goes, oh well.
It was such a good ass cast for this movie, and I
It
remember
was. I
it's
forgot
crazy
how many
because
sleepers, dude.
this is
A lot of
probably
people's
my
debuts.
Who's
too.
announcing? Who's announcing? Who's the
Oh, it's the dude from Are We Done Yet? The guy, the guy from the Ice Cube movie that like has the hard hat and fucking does all the roles in
Oh,
the
wow.
small ass city
Yeah, I
they
didn't
live in.
notice that.
That's him. Yeah,
That's
I
funny.
saw him instantly, and like that was another thing too. He never had an ounce of hatred to say. Granted, again, the times maybe it was in his heart, but the way they portrayed him in the movie, it was great, and like he was skeptical about it. You could tell, but like he was a guy that loved baseball, like Ricky and Jackie Robinson, enough to set that aside. And at the end, when Jackie smokes that home run, like you just see his face light up. Like that was another heartwarming fucking moment. Like this guy had been there from the jump and like got to see Jackie Robinson send them to the fucking World Series.
You know what I
And-
was surprised that we didn't see?
John C. McGinley is
Yes.
the announcer's name.
Yeah, that
Mm.
guy. I was shocked that we didn't see more like racist umpires where they're like calling plays where like he's out, but he really wasn't out. Or
Yeah, they do
'cause I'm
show
sure that
that.
happened.
We seen
They-
that at first.
Yeah, they.
I know.
show
I
him,
feel like
but
you'd
the
see
thing
more
is-
of it.
The thing is, though, I feel like it would
Oh,
just
yeah.
drag the movie,
Maybe, yeah.
And so, like again, this is real life, and like we said, we know it was way worse.
Yeah.
So it's just like you got to fill that in.
Mhm.
And I
It's
can
crazy. If you look at a picture of Branch Rickey and Jackie Robinson, like side by side signing papers, dude, they look identical to Chadwick Boseman and Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah, they-
did a
I
good
saw-
ass job casting that.
I mean, the mannerisms and everything that Harrison Ford did,
Yeah.
and like some people online were saying like his voice was maybe too extreme with the accent, but like if you go actually listen to Ricky's voice, he sounded even more like
Mhm.
gravelly and stuff like that. So
Oh.
they both did a great job. I mean,
And,
it's insane.
I also wanted to mention when you were talking about like him stealing bases and stuff. If you
Mhm.
watch, like I remember always seeing those black and white clips of Jackie Robinson stealing bases,
Yeah,
and they like literally just his mannerism because he had quick
And the way
little
he'd run.
steps.
Yeah.
He had little steps, and Chadwick Boseman like studied that, and he
Mhm.
portrayed it perfectly in the movie,
Yeah.
dude. It's just
yeah, and that was also
Attention
another
to
funny
detail.
thing when it shows the press box and the guy's like, well, it's not really fair because African Americans have like a bigger heel toe or whatever, and then fucking Jackie Robinson smokes it out of the park, and everyone turns and looks at him like, "Shut your ass up! What's that have to do with him having like a larger heel?"
Yeah.
And the guy was typing it or writing it down.
Yeah.
Ego bone. Overemphasize the two.
Yeah.
No,
No.
this is it's a powerful movie, without a doubt.
Mhm.
Definitely one. If you're listening and haven't seen it, like me who just saw it, definitely
It's a
watch
true
this.
story. It's not much we can spoil for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's definitely one of those movies where every single person should have to watch it at least once. It's
Yeah.
a must see.
no, and even if you don't like baseball or know nothing about Jackie Robinson,
Yeah, again,
it's still
I
a
don't
movie
give
that
two
keeps you
shits about
entertained.
baseball, but like everyone knows Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
Like
Some-
everybody.
I don't know. I played baseball growing up. I think so did Aiden. Mike, did you play baseball?
Josh
Yeah.
played a little baseball.
Football.
too.
I was
Yeah,
captain.
Josh was
Football team.
quarterback.
Senior year of high
quarterback.
school.
Varsity year of high school, actually.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Some
Josh was
Varsity, just in varsity. I
This was
actually
his college
I moved up in
varsity.
freshman year of high school and then I was
Yeah.
varsity for the rest of the time.
Are you
was-
still?
He was
playing for
too
U
big
of M,
freshman
Josh?
year.
Yeah, let's not talk about me though. I mean,
Josh
you
was
know,
a pristine golfer as well.
I did golf a little bit.
Varsity
yeah.
wrestling
Tennis
captain.
Yep.
State champion.
Yeah, I didn't do.
2 times.
Yeah, a lot of our wrestlers had ringworm and stuff, so I didn't wrestle. But no,
Real good
and
swimmer.
he didn't
Yeah.
even. Jackie Robinson didn't even just change the sport of baseball. He changed sports in general and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
world in general. Honestly,
Mhm.
I mean, comparing like just to make everyone the same and not hold certain people to a pedestal and anything like that. So it is crazy how he really just changed the world and
No,
changed the way people look.
The absolute craziest part about this entire film and the history behind it is that it takes place in 1946.
Yeah, like our
Which
grandparents
is
are around, like that's like
literally,
when they're
yeah.
in their prime and shit.
Right after World War II.
Yeah.
There's
It is
there's
just
some old ass
sick.
people. There is some old ass people in our life that we know that were probably and still probably are the most racist people on this fucking earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And that's
crazy.
why
to think
I mean
this.
it won't go away anytime soon. Those people gotta die off.
There's still
I-
KKK clans and shit.
I mean,
I think that
Insane.
I mean it's still I don't
no, it's
yeah
still
it's still
awful.
present, but we're at least watching it slowly shrink. It'd be great if it could come fucking to an end real quick, but I
Yeah.
will say at least we're seeing it shrink because I at least think, maybe I'm just hopeful, but like our generation and the younger generations are more tolerant. We don't care about that shit. Or it's not
but
that we
still
don't-
got all those dumbass people in the South
Yeah.
that are still holding on. Like,
No.
why are they taking down Civil War statues? Because you're
Down
fucking
south-
you
down
guys didn't
south
even
is-
fucking win the war. Why the fuck should you even have a statue?
That's like when you
Yeah.
see someone in Michigan with a Confederate flag. It's
yeah,
like
like
you
for
do
what?
realize Michigan wasn't part of the Confederacy, right? You just look like a fucking idiot.
Dude, but
Oh.
it's no different than exactly they portray it perfectly in this movie with that kid sitting down in those bleachers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
taking over
Yeah.
what's
Mhm.
around him, taking in the environment, and
Well, hopefully, I will
taking
say
it off
this
like
though,
that.
with the internet and just how fast like information travels and you see it grow, that like the younger generations, one, like they're not just like following blindly. Like what
We
they're
won't
getting
we
taught.
won't tolerate that bullshit as much. At least I think. Like if we see that,
There-
you're gonna be
there's a
put on
bigger-
blast.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
and
do.
there's
We
a-
see it all the time.
And there's a bigger
scary.
eye for a lot of that younger generation that just because they see it doesn't mean it's the only thing that they're gonna do. Like they're gonna see people that act differently and justly on the internet, and they're gonna see
Yeah.
vice versa. So I mean, it's just a matter of choices at that point, and just kind of, I mean, humanity and just the type of person you are.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
No, and I
Cool,
just
cool.
want to mention this scene really quick because it is my favorite scene. And Andrew mentioned earlier how sometimes he had ran into maybe some YouTube clips or whatever of this movie. I always end up watching this clip whenever it pops up in my recommended or whatever. And I've seen the movie so many times, but it's when Pee Wee and Jackie are talking and everyone's being racist towards Jackie and he puts his arm around him and when he says like maybe one day we'll all wear 42 so they can't tell us apart. That line
Yeah.
fucking gets me every fucking
Mhm.
time. And so like
And then they do that. And now they do that.
and now they do that. So it really is special and amazing, like the bond that they all had throughout that first year and like the marks he made against, for
Mhm.
what baseball was. And
Right? You got to think
yeah.
in the entire major leagues, the only number that's retired is the number 42.
the
Yeah.
moment before too.
That's fucking
that's
nuts,
huge.
dude.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
It just-
And
it just
again,
goes
that
to
was a
show you.
what were you saying, Mike?
I was gonna say, just goes to show you just the type of impact.
Oh,
and,
for
just-
real, dude. And that
the
was the thing
changing
too. When Ricky like wanted to bring him in, He goes, Mr. Ricky, you give me a jersey with the number on it and it has my name to it, like I will play for you. And that's the thing. So when he does finally get into the Brooklyn locker room, it's so last minute. The guy goes, "Hey, I don't have a locker yet, but tomorrow I'll make sure I got something for you." And Jackie's just happy to be in the fucking in the locker room about to suit up.
Yeah, and he wouldn't shower with the team.
Yeah, that was wild too. I forgot about that. And that was really funny when the guy goes, "Jackie, will you shower with me?" And they both just smiled.
He's like, "Stop. Don't say that."
Yeah. No, I mean that too. He's like, he already probably feels bad for his team that you see it with when they get to that hotel and they're not able to go in because they have Jackie on their team. He probably does feel bad for that his team has to go through kind of what he has to go through, but not, like I said, they not even 1% of what he has to go through every day of his life. Right. But still, yeah, he chooses to wait there to even shower, not to make them feel uncomfortable, which just shows you how great of a guy he is.
Another scene. Oh, sorry. All right. Well, I was just going to say another scene that portrays again that we will never fucking understand what, and again, obviously this is a Jackie Robinson movie, but what a whole fucking race had to go through. But when that fucking old crusty ass white dude shows up and goes, "Is that boy in there?" And he threatens them, and Mr. Ricky's like, "Don't tell him, just get him up." And you see Jackie angry, and at first you're thinking maybe he pieces together that the white folk don't want him here. And he gets in the car, and when they're driving with what was the guy's name?
Wendell.
I knew it was a W. My fault. But he Wendell goes Wendell broke because again it's one African American to another, and Wendell's just like, "All right, I'm gonna be honest. There was people coming to burn the house down. We had to get you out of there. This and that." Bozeman starts laughing. He starts laughing, and he just goes, "I thought you woke me up because I got kicked off the team, dude."
Yeah.
And he's not even fazed about the fact that a whole lynch mob was about to pull up on him. That's normal. He's been a strong athlete in this game for a while. He knows that people want him dead. He knows people don't give two fucks about him or anyone that looks like him. And that scene again, I forgot about that one, and I was like, "Fuck!" And even Wendell was just like, "You got a messed up sense of humor, young man."
But I mean, dude, just imagine that. That is normal for those times,
right?
Imagine if they did. Imagine if he didn't do anything and he just stayed there. The cops aren't gonna help him. He could have, been hung right there, and we'd have never had any history of Jackie Robinson. We would have just known about him.
Yep.
And that's I mean, you got to take that into consideration because it's terrifying.
Yeah, but, and the same thing with the police when he got kicked off the field because he hit the fucking catcher so that way he could stay safe. And he's like, "Nope," that's when the sheriff draws the line. He's like, "Nope, can't have anyone of color on this field. We don't play like that here." Yeah. It's you're just mad because he started whooping your ass. And then the team went on to lose. And it's if Jackie was out there, he would at least tied it up and fucking done something.
Yeah. And two, I really like how they showed the strengths of the player, Jackie Robinson, him stealing bases and getting in pitchers' heads like that, and how powerful of an asset that is. Mm-hmm. And regardless of if he was marked safe or marked out, he still was in the pitcher's head regardless. Yeah. And I really liked how they showed that. And like Aiden said, with the running mannerisms and stuff like that, really cool. Really cool.
I love too when he was just at spring training and he tripped up the actual Brooklyn's pitcher and he fucking dropped the ball and Jackie got the home run, dude. Yeah, and it's just he was in his head, and even the little guy was explaining it, and which is cool. At the end, I didn't realize that actually went on to be another ball player that went to the World Series and fucking won. Yeah. That whole thing, he's like, he miscombobulated him, and the mom's like, "What did you just say?"
Yeah,
no, I mean it's great. It's great that they showed all those kids that are, and even when they have that white kid swinging like him or doing his mannerisms.
Yeah, and that was something I wish we would have saw. You only hear it from Ricky. It would have been something cool. They would have had a scene of Ricky driving and actually noticing it.
Yeah. Well, there's the part too where Jackie's signing a bunch of autographs for kids, and it's white, black, didn't matter.
Yeah,
so
that was really cool too.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it didn't matter what they looked like. Everyone wanted his autograph and were fans of him, which is really cool too.
There's some other parts, even when we were talking about when Pee Wee puts his arm around him. Who was the one player that he had on his team where he said that he played in a league and there was an African American catcher and he like everyone was just chirping him, talking a bunch of shit, and he never stood up for him, even though he wanted to and like could have.
Walker, I think.
Yep. And then he made sure that he stood up for Jackie Robinson because he's not going to miss that opportunity again.
Yeah.
You know, like he that was like a burden that was on his shoulders, and he had to make amends with it.
Yeah, something that stuck with him. And
in real life, his wife never told him that she was pregnant because she thought that it was just gonna make him lose his like mind full tilt. And I mean, they show it in the movie, but I mean, yeah, you got to think.
Well, then too, just skips to 8 months later.
Yeah, and everything that's going on, like imagine like now he's like, oh God, like even all the shit that's happening with his family and stuff, and knowing that his wife's pregnant, like, yeah.
Well, I think that's one thing we're kind of overlooking too, is just the sacrifices that his wife made just for him and just to be there and support him when he's going through all these tough times or he's dealing with whatever he's dealing with on the road.
Anyone in history who's written about like Jackie Robinson said that he probably wouldn't have made it as far as he did without his wife. Like people that actually met her and stuff like that, like watched it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like you just got to think. And he engaged to her, he like proposed to her right when he got like
it's like the first 15 20 minutes of the movie.
They had a baby.
Can I call my wife
that same night?
But man, it's just they just tell the story so well, and like we say, like it was 100 times worse, but it's still good to bring it to like illustrate what those Jackie Robinson and any of those players had to deal with, because it didn't just end with Jackie Robinson. You got to think he was the very first player, and then imagine how many hundreds of African American MLB players came into the league, and they still. I guarantee you can go to a game now and people still fucking yell slurs out. It's just it's awful.
I'd say nowadays though you get your.
I mean, but still, I mean, people definitely still say.
If you're deep fucking South, like,
and that's one thing.
The mob mentality.
That's one thing though that I think we're kind of overlooking. While I do think we've made like obviously steps in the right direction. I think like, racism is still just as bad as it was back then. It's just one, they have basic human rights, and two, it's just really fucking suppressed because of just everything. It's all closeted. Like it's still just as bad.
Yeah, we all saw what happened in 2020.
We see it on the news all the time.
Yeah, we still have so much more to go, just a long way to go. But I will say, like, like we have definitely taken steps in the right direction with a lot of things, but it's still there. It's just suppressed.
Yeah. Well, you guys want to kind of...
It'll never be done until it's completely abolished, so...
Yeah. You guys want to get into the movie trivia in this? Actually, there's a lot of good ones for this one. I think I only picked out like 8. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, this is based off a true story. And I always like when we do the rewinds on, like, true stories or based on a true story because I feel like I learn a lot more.
I have a random weird fact. There's a book. It's a kid's book, but it's like the beginning of, like, kids science fiction. It's called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Holy fuck, I remember that.
I remember that
too. Is there a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, it's a book, and it came out in like the 70s. I want to say. I read it's a kid's book, but it's thick. I mean, it's like 700 pages, the full thing. But it's a kid's book, and basically the whole thing is trying to figure out, these aliens show up, they destroy the earth, and the whole thing is like what's the whole meaning of life, and this supercomputer is trying to figure it out, and at the end the supercomputer is just like, oh, the answer to the meaning of life is 42. And I just feel like that's a weird trivia fact that should be noted, because it's like
definitely
it's just random, and that's all the book says. Like it ends like that, just the answer. And this is like the 7. I'm sure there's no
correlation.
But it's just a weird coincidence that there's this whole book, kids book, and they're like, the answer is 42. I don't know. You could probably look into it kind of deep and come up with something, but I wanted to share that.
That is interesting.
In 1997, baseball commissioner Bud Selig universally retired Jackie Robinson's number 42. The handful of players still wearing the number were allowed to keep it. But as of 2014, barring special request or approval, no Major League Baseball player will ever wear the number 42 again. Nice. Pretty cool. Really cool. And like Aiden said, it's the only number that's ever been retired in the MLB. So the line, no, I want a player who's got the guts to not fight back was actually said by Branch Rickey to Jackie
Nice.
Robinson.
That's
Very
cool.
cool.
That stuck with me right away too.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was really cool. That's another like powerful ass line in this movie. There's so many. The film broke the record for the highest box office opening weekend for a baseball movie. The previous record was held by The Benchwarmers, 2006.
Benchwarmers. I was gonna guess Moneyball.
Oh, Moneyball
Yeah.
came out after, I think.
I was gonna say
Did it?
Moneyball. Moneyball probably broke.
Well, this
that.
movie was 2013. I don't remember when Moneyball came out. I thought it was
Moneyball
2012
sooner
or
than
something.
that. Yeah,
Moneyball might have been 2008.
Oh,
because I
really?
remember going to the fucking dollar show to see that when we were in middle school.
I
No,
like
2011.
2011. Okay, so
Okay.
it was before though.
Mhm.
Jackie Robinson was not.
Benchwarmers.
Jackie Robinson actually
Benchwarmers
was
is
not
great.
the first black Major League Baseball player. He was the first in the 20th century. A lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that until I
No.
looked it up.
News to me.
Who
yeah.
was it?
Let's see. The first black Major League Baseball player was Moses Fleetwood Walker, and he was on the Toledo Blue Stockings in 1884, and he was followed by his brother Wedley.
Okay.
And then there's
1884?
yeah, 1884. So Jackie Robinson was the first in the 20th century.
Damn, Aiden wasn't
Um,
even born yet.
Yeah, Aiden wasn't born yet. 9/11 didn't
I
happen.
didn't even
yet.
know baseball was around back then.
It's America's
Um,
pastime.
America's
brother.
pastime, but
Twins.
The role of Branch Rickey was originally intended for Robert Redford instead of Harrison Ford. Pretty
Robert
interesting.
Redford. Which actor is that?
Trying to think of something that he's been in. You definitely would know him if you saw him. Look him up. Harrison Ford played Branch Rickey wearing prosthetics and talking in a different voice to more closely resemble Rickey himself. And then this is my favorite quote. This was my favorite scene, and this is my favorite fact that I've read for this movie, so I saved it for last. The quote, "Maybe tomorrow we'll all wear 42. That way they can't tell us apart," is said at the 1 hour and 42-minute mark and starts at 42 seconds in, where Pee Wee is number 1 and Jackie Robinson is number 42, and they're holding each
Pretty
other
damn cool.
while it says a minute 42
That's
into the
pretty
movie
clever.
42. Really
Pretty
cool. I don't know how they timed that. When I read that, I was like, that's fucking sweet.
The
So I didn't
director,
know
whoever
that.
was in charge, was
How are you
like, I
gonna
need
meet,
this
though,
moment.
and make that happen? Plan a whole movie, an hour and 42 minutes.
At the 42-second mark, he's like, maybe
At
we'll
the
all wear
42
42.
Because I don't give
One
a
and
fuck
42.
about anything.
Social network.
The director
Social
was with
network's
the
how it was.
editors. He's like, "You're gonna fucking make this happen. I don't care what it takes."
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it could have been a coincidence, but
Yeah, and then this is a fact
Maybe.
that's at the end of the movie. Every year in April, all MLB players wear the number 42 as a
Mhm.
reminder of Jackie Robinson's accomplishments on and off the field. Very cool. Very cool. I mean, no one deserves
Awesome.
it more.
Those are some
Um,
cool facts, man.
Yeah.
I've one quote that like immediately hit me, and it is true. It's from Jackie Robinson. He said, "I don't think it matters what I believe, only what I do." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Damn,
that's
that
a
hit
good
that
one.
hit me right away." I was like, "That's a good line," and that was
That's
from
good
him.
words.
Because it's true. It's what you do, not what you believe. You can believe a ton of shit, but your actions will always speak
Mhm.
louder than words.
Well, like too, it was like that scene where they're all, him and his one teammate are bickering at each other because they're at the hotel and everyone's frustrated that they can't get in because they're with Jackie. And the guy goes, "Listen, I just want to play baseball." And Jackie just goes, "So do I."
Yeah.
It's just like that straightforward. Like, I want to
Yeah.
play baseball too.
And then he shits on him too, which is well
Yeah.
deserved because again, Jackie Robinson was doing the best on the fucking team,
yeah.
Yeah.
which was
Yeah,
cool.
and he led
too.
that
He-
season with the most hits by a pitcher.
Yeah,
So
that's fucking fire.
it's fucked up.
Yeah. It's funny though too. When it shows Jackie Robinson like in what would that be considered, the minor leagues? Because it's not really even minor league. They just have like the club team rolling, and he's
Yeah.
just fucking dominating. And
Yeah.
like they show him
Montreal.
stealing left and fucking right. Like pre Montreal when he was just playing on the straight African American team was fucking
Oh, I'm
crazy.
sure it was the league just for African Americans. It was a
Yeah,
different-
yeah, and that one that like, and again, you could just see him shitting on these guys, and then for him to come out and to keep it rolling throughout training camp, to keep it rolling again, surrounded by all these fucking white guys that don't give a shit about him, like saying like you don't belong here, and then he goes out and just gives the fucking facts, and
Yeah.
like that's it, dude. Like numbers don't lie. Like he's fucking shitting on all of them.
No, absolutely.
So Brian, he was the guy in Winter Soldier, the main villain.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think he would have been as good as a Ricky. I also love
No, I don't
Harrison
think so either.
Ford, so
Harrison
I'm
Ford
glad
did
that
great.
it worked out this way.
Yeah. I always forget he was in that movie, Winter Soldier.
Mhm.
But
We want to roll into the reviews.
yeah, let's get into reviews.
You got to think like the cast for this. Like, I mean, we said it about every movie because we've only seen like these actors portray these characters. But I mean, like, that's one of the hardest.
What do you?
jobs
Who do you?
in
Yeah, who you swap them out with?
But that's the thing. That's like you gotta give respect to the casting crew because like the
They killed it.
casters. Because
Well,
casting,
because,
yeah, man,
Ricky's-
you cast one
Ricky's
wrong
like,
person, the whole movie's fucked.
Yeah, well, because it's funny too. Ricky's right hand man, I forget his name right now. But it was really funny. I was like sitting there, I was like, how do I know this guy? How do I know this guy? And it was the fucking dude from Grey's Anatomy that gets hit by a bus. And I was like, well, that's how I know him.
Isn't he? Well, actually, that's another guy I recognize. Isn't he from Scooby Doo?
Who?
His right hand man with the glasses at first. That
Fuck.
that says it's a bad idea.
I don't remember that.
I swear, even if we don't figure this out on this podcast, I'm
Also-
gonna figure that out.
But
It
also,
has-
before we do get in the reviews, that opening scene where it's Ricky sitting there smoking a cigar and he goes, I'm gonna do something that's gonna make the world and baseball hate me. And everyone's like, what are you gonna do?
They
And he
say
goes,
my health can't handle it.
yeah. Oh fuck, dude. No, from start to finish, this is a great fucking movie. To get these low ratings that we're seeing though, I don't know about that.
Yeah, start us off, Brian. Let's get your review here.
So to get it going again, this is only my second time seeing it, and I mean, obviously, when I had watched it, 2013 would have been 14, maybe 15 years old if I had watched it right after my birthday in the summer. But I didn't really remember too much about it, and honestly, Chadwick Boseman being in that, like, I genuinely forgot that was even him because again, he wasn't really huge. And then I remember leaving Winter Soldier. I think it was Spencer had like texted me. He's like, "Yo, did you notice that was Jackie Robinson from 42?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
How do you even remember that? Like, that's so
Yeah.
long.
But again, like I guess when it comes to lower ratings, like yeah, we've seen biopics before. It hasn't done anything crazy, but it'd be ignorant to overlook the fact of how great this fucking cast was and how everyone was able to get in that headspace, which hopefully no one was tapping on the inner if they were a racist white person. Again, it's Hollywood though. But with that being said, I don't think this movie deserves anything below a 90. And again, it's not the perfect 100, but I think a solid 92 for this movie is where I'll set it. Because again, me watching it for the second time had me fucking move them beforehand. And it just seemed like a great one. I did want to ask this: how does this rank against Remember the Titans? Kind of the same vibe,
Yeah, but it doesn't. touch
but
it.
also very different because Jackie Robinson is the first.
It doesn't touch it, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
Mhm. I agree. Remember the Titans just felt more fun. This one was more fucked
Yeah.
to me because again,
Well,
you
it's
are
more
seeing
healthfelt and it's more.
Yeah,
true.
it's more serious.
It's more true as well. Like we
That's
don't
why
wanna-
I can go up next. I think that this movie is like one of the more informative movies out of any sports movie ever made. You know, like especially with the great casting that it has, whether it be the players on Jackie's team, even his wife, Harrison Ford, and Chadwick Boseman alone. The fact that this is one of the most impactful characters brought to the cinema, and it's Chadwick Boseman, and it's his like bring to fame. Like he was not an
Yeah.
established actor at that point, and now look at where he's at. He's literally like an A-list actor, and unfortunately, I mean that's what we've been talking about. You rewatch this film, and it's awful. It's just heartbreaking that you just see how great of an actor he was, and how sad it is that
You're not going to get to see
he
him
lost
again.
to cancer. And but I mean, it's a great movie, especially like at the time it came out, 2013. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I saw it at the theater on a field trip. Like our school took us to go see it at like the IMAX or something. And
Damn, what
it's
school
just
did you
great.
go to?
Melvindale.
I was gonna say at that point you were at
Yeah,
Melvindale,
we had
weren't you?
nice
Yeah, Allen
little-
Park
nice
wasn't
Allendale,
participating in
yeah.
such a thing.
Yeah,
He's
no.
just
Allen
Those
Park
bro.
was part of the Phillies.
Yeah, we went to the IMAX, and I mean it's just great because you're at that age, you're 13 years old, 14, and you don't know better. Like you don't, it's just like they portrayed in the movie. Like you see this, you're like, wow, like who's that? Like Jackie Robinson. Like
Yeah.
you hear about him and you like play sports, but you don't understand the history of it. And it's like the perfect age that I saw that, where it like shapes you as a person. like just to, right from wrong. And I don't know, man. I mean, this movie, like I said, watching it for the first time, it just sits with you. It's great. It's uneasy at most points, but I mean, it has a great story to tell, and it just shows you the hardships that people have to go through, and it shows you how privileged you are realistically that you never had to deal with something like that. So
Not even a decimal of that.
yeah, not even, you can't even fathom it. You can't think of it. But all in all, I mean, like I said, this is a great watch. It's a must see, and not a lot of movies are a must see. Like, this is great. And I mean, I feel comfortable giving this a 96 out of 100. It's a great watch. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch that shit.
Yeah, it's on HBO.
Yeah.
It is on HBO.
And I will go up next because I want to say this at first. I rented this fucking movie.
I
an
was at
idiot.
work fucking crying when you sent that text, Mike.
I rented okay.
At least it's not a shitty movie.
Yeah,
at least you rented a
it
good
could be
movie.
way
At
worse.
least it's not a shitty movie. At least it's
Could be night shift,
even though yeah, it could be a nice
day
shit.
shift. Fuck.
Day shift.
Whatever the fuck.
Daybreak.
Whatever that movie.
No one knows that damn movie's fucking.
I gave it under a 50.
It's so
What
bad,
did I give it, like a 40 something?
Hey, real quick, I hate to bring this up, but now
30.
that we just said it, I literally got home yesterday and my dad is watching
Of course he was.
Daybreak. He's watching Daybreak, and I literally started
Day
dying.
shift. It's
Yeah.
called
Like,
day
day
shift.
shift.
He goes, it's a good fucking movie. You ever seen
He
it?
goes, I'm like, I literally said that. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, you never seen this? He's like, no, it's pretty good. I was like, all right, I'm going to bed. Dude.
On the record, Josh gave that a 67.
Damn,
It was a good
Josh.
movie.
It was entertaining. It was.
I did. Yeah, I was entertained again.
Not a good.
The action was pretty
I'll-
good.
We'll give
The
you.
plot
we'll
wasn't
give you
great.
one chance- We'll give you one chance to take back that it was a good movie.
Whatever.
was a
We'll
good movie.
talk more about it at the end. We can
Yeah.
finish up with this.
No.
Because I got some more
Regardless,
stuff to add.
All right,
regardless, I wasted $3.99. Microsoft, whoever the fuck gets the money, congrats for the donation. That's all I have to say with that. I wish it was going to something else, but I'm not mad because it was a good movie, like we all talked about. And although I could have streamed it for free, I very much enjoyed the movie. I think, like we talked about, like you guys pretty much summed up, the casting was pretty much perfect, honestly, with it going from Harrison Ford to Chadwick Boseman and his rise to fame, and just everybody from Pee Wee to the Phillies manager and just on. The cast was absolutely phenomenal, and whoever did the casting for this movie should get a raise and get bigger opportunities because the casting for this movie was awesome. But I think they do a really good job. I don't know why Balan comes to mind for me, but
That dog shit movie.
dog shit movie. But this does a better job of just taking like what actually happened and being a little bit more real compared to like Blind, for example, that just like tries to like fantasize and dramatize and be an actual like movie, like more fiction based. While
Mhm.
this kind of does a really good job of just
Good
like,
point.
oh, like this is what fucking happened, and whether you like it or not, like that's what happened. And
Yeah.
that's what I really like about the movie, honestly. In terms of like storytelling, I don't like saying this because like obviously the biggest thing is racism itself and just like within the sport and within America. But like there's no like, for me, I really like that really big build up to like one big problem. And we know there's a really big problem, but it's not like a problem you can, I don't know how to describe this without like sounding insensitive, but just like within the plot, within the movie, a really big problem within like a game or something like that, like a really big situation. Obviously, like racism is a big problem and what they're tackling and stuff, but the plot was good overall. I just wish there was a little bit more buildup of something, and then like I like that buildup to something, and obviously they solve it, and happy ending.
Yeah.
Is all I'm getting at.
Yeah, but that's
But,
kind of like the routine, storytelling.
I know, but I think with something like this, though, I think the routine storytelling,
Might have
Probably-
hit home better. That's
yeah,
fair.
it might have hit home better, honestly.
Hit home. Ha, that's a bomb.
But I'm gonna go a little different here. So I'm gonna go 88 point.
We don't do points.
We don't do
We
points.
die on the hill.
don't
Solid
do points.
numbers.
You want to
No.
round up?
No. I want to go 88.2.
No, we
We're
do.
gonna go 42 times 2 plus 4.2.
gonna round it up.
88.2. No, we're gonna go 88.2.
Okay,
Man,
so an
you
88.
So 88. 88's a good score.
It'll say 88.2 on the website to make you feel better.
Thank you. Well,
But
fuck
but
you
we're
guys
calling it.
But it won't be
Yeah.
on the website.
for that. And
But it actually
also,
won't be on the website.
okay, well, whatever. Fuck you guys, and
We'll put it on
fuck
Pornhub for you
Okay, thank you. Fuck
in
you
one of the
guys,
comment sections.
What's
and fuck
Pornhub?
you if you're a racist piece of shit.
Yo, what's that?
And this is a great story and a great
It
movie.
is.
Yeah, it
I heard
is.
you threw away your Confederate flag after watching this movie, Mike. Is this true?
Not even remotely funny.
No. That's still hugging up his room. I'll go.
Dicks.
Yeah, I don't know. I've probably seen the movie the most in here. I mean, I love this movie, and it kind of hits on every point, and like it doesn't feel like it is over 2 hours long, and it really doesn't drag per se. It flows well, and it really tells the story. And two, it only really focuses on his rookie year and how he started off in the MLB and everything like that. It didn't even really tackle the rest of his life and like when he won World Series or anything like that. Or anything, those like bigger games, I guess, right? But kind of just focused on how he started and the challenges he had to go through with the way he looked. I don't think there's a movie more that pisses me off when I watch it, in a good way. I mean, the shit that they say to his face is like, it'd fuck anyone up, anyone. So
Yeah.
regardless of the confidence you have and how charismatic you are.
It's an emotional ass movie, man. Honestly,
It
from
is.
start to finish.
Yeah.
There's just
Especially
more-
after his
more emotions,
passing,
so-
too.
Because
Oh,
he
yeah.
passed away. Oh, also, that's one thing I want to talk about really quick. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
But just like obviously being right before we watch the second Black Panther, like if I know we're gonna see something with him tomorrow,
I know.
and if I'm bawling my eyes out,
Yeah, we talked about that on our rewind that's coming out earlier in the week. That like I said that I was like, I guarantee I'm gonna fucking cry.
Mhm.
Because it's
I almost-
just
I
again
almost wish we
watching
didn't watch
this
this
movie
now.
from fucking 2012 had me emotional as fuck.
Yeah. But and two, it makes it more powerful too after his passing. I mean, it makes it even sadder.
Black Panther's like the only standalone Marvel. Well, I mean, granted, you can't say standalone, but it was like the only build up. Like it wasn't like a Avengers or like an Endgame
Yeah.
type thing. It was one of the only movies that fucking pulled like record numbers. And again,
Well-
that's powerful to say because it's the first black superhero that Marvel is portraying. Like obviously, there's other African Americans in the film, but like he's the straight superhero. Like he is Black Panther.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I'll be honest too, in like Civil War, he like stole the show for me. And I went into that movie really excited to see Spider-Man. That's my favorite superhero, Spider-Man.
Mhm.
And I was excited to see how they would do with Tom Holland. But like Chadwick Boseman steals the show, and not even like when he's suited up as the Black Panther, but like T'Challa himself, like, overcoming, getting over the death of his dad for vengeance, right? And revenge, so
Mhm.
he did what, he thought his dad would want him to do and everything like
Yep.
that. So the growth of that character throughout that film is what he steals the movie for me. Every time I
Taking
watch
the
it, I
high
love,
road.
taking the high road and like
Again,
doing the right
it
thing
does
and
roll.
being an actual superhero.
I
Like, he
actually
would
said
be
that
able
when
to
I
fucking-
watched that movie through. I was like,
Yeah.
I think I'm Team Black Panther. I thought he was sick in that
Yeah,
movie.
he was sweet. Dude. He'd be worthy for Mjolnir for sure.
I
Like,
think
deserved
he
it.
by far had one of the best introductions into the MCU.
It was
Yeah.
cool as
New
fuck, dude. He's just chasing
just
after
because
the
he's just a
car at full
badass.
speed, dude.
And
Yeah.
like just the way he's just such a presence when he's on the screen.
No,
Yeah,
his like his whole
the way he
style,
talks and
how he
everything,
fights,
he's
how
just a badass.
Yeah.
It really does suck, man.
No, and you could tell too, like for this movie, especially, like he really like threw himself into the character. He worked out a lot, the running mannerisms, the way he talked, like everything. He, I'm sure he even had to practice his fucking swings and shit like that too, to make it look really good and everything like that. So he did a great job. Harrison Ford steals the show too. They both do great. I'm gonna give this movie a 90 flat. I love this movie. I'd recommend it to everyone. Obviously, I'm gonna keep rewatching it. But yeah, I love this movie.
Gotcha. I will finish this off. I will also disclaimer: the only flag hanging in Mike's room is a one that he won from
Don't tread
some
on me.
workout championship. He doesn't have any other flags in there.
Thought it was a snowboarding contest.
Trump flag.
He's a real good snowboarder. No, so throw that out there. But yeah, I just watched this movie for the first time today. And this is an awesome movie. You guys kind of threw in all my thoughts, anything that I really could say. The cast is awesome. I wouldn't change them for anything. it's sad that this is where we get to see, like, this is one of his best performances, and we're not going to get to see something else like this. That movie tomorrow, when we see that with Black Panther, incredibly sad. I'm already ready for that.
I'm
But-
not ready. I can never be ready.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't have a ton to say because you guys kind of summed up everything. This is an impactful movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. I can't believe I went this long without seeing it. Usually my threshold is like 90s, a really good movie. And I'd say like 95 up is like a must watch. With that said, I got to hit it with a 95 flat. I think this is a must watch. I think you should see it no matter what. It's a good, and I'm not normally a sports movie kind of person. That's not normally my thing. I don't normally care for sports films. I'm not a huge sports person. But this is worth the watch. I wouldn't really change anything about it. I'm just not going to give it the perfect 100 just because I'm a stickler for scores. But I'm feeling confident with the 95. Originally, I was going to go with 42, but I felt that was kind of shitty. So.
I see where the heart's at, but yet terrible rating.
That was it was out
I'm
of
glad
50.
you didn't stick with that.
84, or better yet, an 88.2. Get creative.
No, an 88 was a good score, Mike. No, and yeah, so that's our next episode too on Friday is Black Panther 2 kind of forever. So
the time that we're recording this, we're actually going to see Black Panther tomorrow.
yeah, we're about to go see it tomorrow
Yes.
from when we're recording this. So yeah, we're pretty excited for that. We thought this would be the perfect movie to do
It's
right
gonna be a
before
kick
that.
to the nads tomorrow, eh, boys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
Just
see how
cutting
it
onions
goes.
in the theater.
Yeah,
Yeah, someone's gonna be cutting up onions. So
someone's definitely cutting an onion tomorrow.
I'll bring the Kleenex tomorrow, boys.
yeah, bring
Thanks,
it.
dude.
Thanks, Mike.
But all right, boys.
All right.
guys.
I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, love you guys.
All right, peace out.
Love you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.